So this will be a review of the Jordan 5-ton carrier with the Pete 335 front end. Now, for those of you that watch my videos, you know the type of models that I collect, and you also know that this model really isn't the average model that I always buy. I got this model because I had store credit and I had a decent amount of it and I didn't know what else to buy, so I figured that I would buy this. Now, looking at it on reviews online and both picture reviews and video reviews, until you get the model in person, you really don't see how nice it is, because in person it is an extremely nice model. Build quality, paint, decaling, just about everything on it. It's probably one of the nicest truck models that I own. And although I don't have a lot of use for it, because I normally don't collect these type of models, maybe I will if I do a snow removal diorama or something like that, but I have to say it's probably one of my favorite trucks. Now, the front end of it is exactly the same off a Pete 335 service truck that TWH manufactures. So I've had one of those service trucks. I don't have it anymore, but I may buy it because it's just really nice. Model retails for around, I believe, $90, or it should be around $90. I'm not exactly sure, but it's around that price range. It has some really nice functions, including back rolls, and it'll tilt to lift up a car and or pickup. To pick up, like I said, a car or a pickup. It's also got a working winch and arms for other cars, but I will get to that. So now you notice that I have the red and red version. I think that this one looks the best. If I'm gonna buy any more, I might either buy the red tractor and the red flatbed on the back, or the red and red like you see again. Personally, I think I like the model so much because of the color. I think it just looks really nice. So to start off, your hood opens on the front, and to not allow it to open a lot, it's got these, you see the thread that goes to the front of the hood, and that basically just allows it not to open so much. It kind of is hard to even get it that far, so you don't really have to worry about it coming down. So the grill on the front of the hood is etched out. It's kind of hard to tell, but when you lift it up, you could tell that it's etched out. It's got all turning signals, headlights, probably fog lights, and everything, and you can see it's chromed out, which makes it really look nice. It's got the Peterbilt decal right there with the air intakes on the side, and you can see it has the latches if the real truck, when you want to close the hood. You can kind of see the bolt detail. It's kind of hard to tell. Top of the truck has the horns and the lights up top. The cab does open, but I don't know, mine seems like it's glued shut or something. I don't want to break it. Fuel tank, which has texture on the steps that lead up to the cab, and that you can see is chromed out as well. Turning to the right side of the truck, you can see it almost resembles a matte granite. The stack right here, which is all metal, and it has texture on it with a metal handrail. And the cool thing about this truck is it has suspension, and a decent amount of it. You can see it's a nice suspension. You know, if you push down on the right side will come down, and push down on the left, and the left side will come down. So it's not like a model that, you know, will all come down at once. If you hear it click, there's 3 positions to turn. One bad thing about the model, and I believe this is the only bad thing, is the turning radius on it isn't the best. You can see it only turns that much, which really isn't a lot. So I don't want to say it does take away from the model, because it's a shame with such a nice model they didn't make better turning radius, but it's not like I'm gonna, you know, drive the thing around on my table or anything, so it doesn't really matter to me. Although it would have been nice to have real turning radius in it. Now you got a toolbox where you would store chains and blocks and tie downs and whatnot, which is chromed out. And you also have a larger one on the opposite side, which would mostly be used more than the other one since the driver's side. Back also has a nice amount of suspension. Now, the back of the cab really isn't that detailed, but it's nice that they added bolt detail. Like you can see right there, which is really cool. I like that a lot. Over here, so nothing will fly into the cab, you got the etched out grating, or whatever you want to call it, and that's just so nothing flies into the cab and breaks the windows and endangers anyone inside the cab of the truck. Now, one thing when I seen pictures of it online that I was a little unsure about, but now that I have it, it actually makes the model better in my opinion. And if you notice the back here, it really isn't, it's just flat. And I'm not an expert on these, but I would naturally think the real one wouldn't be completely flat like that. But again, I'm unsure if it is, but I like how it looks like that, especially with the red. I think it gives it a really nice look to it. And I just really like that a lot. And like I said, it has a working winch, and I don't want to pull it out too much because it's pretty annoying to put it back in. But this, with the J-hook right there, the winch does come out, and there's a little, well, the winch is right there, and the little, they didn't give you a key, obviously it's too small, but you could wind it in and wind it out. Now, one really cool thing is right here you can see the levers, and they actually work, each individual one. So I thought that was just very cool. They really put a lot into this model. Now, before I get to the end of the model and the end of the review, this really isn't a long one. Like I showed you, it rolls out and then it tilts back. Now, I don't know if it's just mine, but it doesn't tilt exactly to the ground. And they'll raise the truck off, but whatever. Now, if you just go like this and then lower it, it's not going to go exactly. You got to push it into the side because there's like catchers or whatever you want to call them, so you can't lift it like that. But if you do it incorrectly, it will. So the back's also got the arms for the extra car, which I think is really cool. You can see it raises and lowers. That's the lowest it can go, that's the highest that it will go. And it extends out, and it turns and turns out naturally when the truck turns. They also give you the arms so you could attach and place the tire in there. Now, when you add a model to it, it drops because the cylinders aren't that great. But one good thing about it is these arms, if you are going to display with a model, you could tell, you know, they take a bit of a force to adjust, which is nice. And they store right underneath. My other arm is on my shelf. I like that there's a spot to store them. And underneath, you can see it's got all the decals and the lights and whatnot. And the right side also has more control arms, which is really cool. So now to show you it with a car on it, or a pickup, I'll put that on it and I'll show you. So here it is with a Chevy pickup on it. And I think it looks very cool. I wish I would have a red pickup. Not really that hard to repaint them anyway. But it would look nice if I had a red pickup or a black pickup. I don't really like the green on the red. But still looks very cool. And I actually put a chain on mine so I could set it up, winching the truck up there. The chain's a bit long. And it actually, one side came off. But you could get an idea of how it would look winching it up. Really cool model. If you're into these tow truck and truck models, really definitely worth it. I'm sure this is going to attract a lot of different viewers to my channel. So I normally collect construction machines like cranes and whatnot. So I'm really not into these types of models, but they're just definitely worth it. TWH really outdid themselves on this one. There was just a lot of detail. Definitely worth the money. So there it is, guys, the review of the 5-ton P335 with the Jordan back.